When it comes to saving for retirement, conventional wisdom tells you to max out your 401k. But I'm here to tell you there's a better way to do this, because that strategy alone could drain your accounts fast and send you back to work in your golden years. And if it doesn't do those two things, at the very least, it'll cause you to overpay in taxes. But with just a little proper planning, you can have the retirement of your dreams. In order to avoid running out of money in retirement, it's gonna require you to be intentional and to have a plan. In this video, I'm gonna run you through a fascinating case study of a client of mine who's retired and living on $15,000 a month, but only paying 12% in tax by utilizing his brokerage account to its fullest potential. But before I do, if you wanna learn how to not run out of money in retirement, we teach it right here, so subscribe. The first thing you need to know if you wanna live on $15,000 and pay only 12% in tax is that there's 3 buckets when saving for retirement. They're all very different and they have specific purposes. You've got your 401k or your IRA, where contributions go in and they lower your tax bill in the year that you contribute, but they're taxed on the way out. This is the bucket that I see most people using very heavily. You all know about your Roth IRA. You don't get a tax deduction for contributions, but it grows tax-free and it comes out tax-free if you meet certain requirements. But the account most people don't talk about and is most underutilized is the after-tax brokerage account. In this case study, I'm gonna highlight how powerful the after-tax brokerage account is, and I'm gonna show you how to use it. Take a look at the tax report here. My client had nearly $200,000 of annual income, yet they paid less than $20,000 in taxes, leaving them in the 10% average tax rate. In order to understand how this client ended up in such an enviable situation, we need to take a look at their tax report and the nature of the income that they had. This is the key. And it's a major mistake I see people make as they plan for retirement. People are not being thoughtful about the future. They're simply focusing on today and doing what conventional wisdom tells them to do. Max out your pre-tax 401k plan. But in today's new world, effective tax planning thinks not only about the year that we're in, but also the next 30 years ahead in order to keep the lifetime tax bill lower. So after taking the standard deduction of $30,750, they had taxable income of $164,856, leaving them in the 12% marginal tax bracket. How did they do this? Take a look at their ordinary income. It was $80,346. For them, this came in the form of a pension. For you, it could also be ordinary income if you're still working, but pensions are taxed at ordinary income rates, and you can see that they were in the 12% bracket on their ordinary income. But here's the key. They had $39,201 in dividends, of which $35,295 were qualified. This is key, and it's a mistake that I see a lot of DIY investors make. Qualified dividends are taxed at the lower long-term capital gains rates. If you're gonna use dividends to boost your income, make sure they're qualified so your tax rate is lower. Otherwise, you're tipping Uncle Sam. Next, I wanna call your attention to the long-term capital gains. They realized over $49,000 of long-term capital gains. The benefit of long-term capital gains is that they're taxed at lower rates compared to ordinary income. For this client, it was 15%. And this did not happen by accident. It took years of careful planning and saving to pull this off. And most people are not doing this right. I'm talking to you, DIYers. So many times I see people with their heads down, working, grinding, saving, doing all the right things, but with little intentionality around it. People are just saving money, but they're not being thoughtful of the future ramifications of the account where they're actually saving to. In order to have $84,000 of income in the form of qualified dividends and capital gains, this means my client did a great job of saving money into their taxable brokerage account. This is the kind of account that doesn't give you a tax deduction in the year that you save into it, but it grows and you pay taxes for the activity that happens in the account year to year. I recommend you use exchange-traded funds in these taxable accounts because of their low cost and their tax-efficient manners. They are way more tax efficient than their mutual fund cousins. Think about saving for retirement as saving into different buckets. You hear a lot of talk about the pre-tax bucket, because it gives you a tax deduction in the year that you make the contribution. This would be your 401k or your 403b or traditional IRA. You hear a lot of talk about the tax-free bucket or the Roth IRA. You get no tax deduction in the year that you make the contribution, but you get tax-free growth. I love Roth IRAs. However, there's a less talked about bucket called the taxable bucket. And this is the bucket that my client took advantage of over the years to build up wealth, and it really helped them during retirement to keep that tax bill lower. Qualified dividends and long-term capital gains being taxed at lower rates in the 3-bucket system were really effective in helping them live on nearly $200,000 a year, but stay in the 12% tax bracket. And there's additional benefits to this tax-wise, efficient planning. Take a look at the impact to Medicare and IRMA. In fact, there's no IRMA being charged as a result of their wise planning. That's why long-range planning is key to a successful outcome. So IRMA is that expense. It's the income-related monthly adjustment amount that makes you pay more in Medicare, and these guys avoided it. Let's recap what you learned here. So in addition to saving into your pre-tax 401k, you also need to save into your taxable brokerage account, because this is the account that has the favorable lower tax rates when you're taking money out in the first years of retirement. Also, don't forget to keep maxing out that Roth IRA, because that's going to help you on the back end. But the bottom line is you need to have a coordinated strategy of saving into each of the 3 buckets. Don't overweight one over the other, because that's not going to be tax efficient when it really counts in retirement. What's your favorite account to save into? Leave a comment below. So as you can see, it is possible to live on $15,000 a month and be in the 12% tax bracket, but it takes discipline and it takes a lot of proper planning. And that's where we come in. We're here to help you invest with purpose, plan with precision, and create outcomes that serve you and your family for the long haul. You can schedule a meeting with us using the link below. Also, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, share with anybody you know, as word of mouth is really helping us grow, and check out this next video.